Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome to Eyewitness News. The roadmap, you have detailed is quite concerning because some of the things you are planning to do, given that these are young people you are leading, others have said could be recipe for disaster. For example, instigating young people to confront officials of government and demand an end to corruption and the insensitivity of the Akufo-Addo failed government, are some of the things you want to do. How do you really intend to do this? Just because government has introduced some 10% on game winnings?
Good evening to you and good evening to your cherished viewers. I would want to start by stating that currently we all are going through untold hardship in this country due to the recklessness and the misadministration and the incompetence of the Nana-Addo-led administration of the MPP. We have put out a statement stating and clearly show you a roadmap as to what we are going to do to press upon this government to rescind its decision so far as the 10% tax on bet earnings is concerned. I have seen that you have asked a direct question so far as the instigation is concerned. And we have stated it clearly, and it's not just that. We have stated 4 things we are going to do. The first one is picket at the Ministry of Finance and occupy government offices across the country. The second is to start and scale up nationwide conventional and unconventional lawful agitations as a measure of resistance. The third is to instigate young people, confront officials of this government, and demand an end to the corruption and insensitivity of the Akufo-Addo field brigade. And it was instructive to know that this morning I was on other radio stations, and that alone is some sort of instigation. To instigate does it is going to be an unlawful act or to cause mayhem. To instigate people to demand, and that is the kind of instigation we are talking about. No one has spoken about some unlawful instigation where there will be mayhem or where we will chase officials. We are demanding and we will question them for their administration and the bad governance and the governance that has not been able to put any food on people's tables. The youth are unemployed. That in itself is a national security threat. Just at the just ended report of the World Bank, 850,000 people have been moved into the poverty line. That is a national security concern. I think the government should be concerned about these things and not a statement that young people are putting together to press upon the government to reduce the hardship. 10% on the earnings of people who are unemployed and trying to make a living, trying to hustle to put food on their table. That is enough to instigate anything. So what we are trying to tell the good people of this country and the youth of this country is that they should come out in their numbers because we are for everyone and we are fighting for all. They should come out in their numbers. We will roll out the dates and they should come out. Let us picket around the finance ministry. They should come out and let us demand that the decision to tax this debt and it should be rescinded. The decision should be stopped and the taxation should be ceased. That is what we are talking about.
But of course, many people, including the majority leader in parliament, has described betting as laziness or encouraging laziness. So, as a leader of young people, is it a case that you want to encourage, your followers to engage in what has been generally described by many as a lazy job? Young people get some little money instead of them to think about how they can use other means to multiply that money. They decide to go into betting with it. Is that the way we want to build our country? Is that how we want to inspire our young people to be creative, so they can take up the leadership of the country tomorrow? Is that the kind of thing we are encouraging,
Young people in this country are hardworking, and let it not be said anywhere that the youth of Ghana are lazy. It is the MPP administration, which is led by Akufo-Addo, that is incompetent and thinks that the youth of this country are lazy. Let them not mistake their incompetence to mean the laziness of the youth. If they had provided a conducive economic environment, the youth would have thrived in business. The capitals of the youth wouldn't have been swallowed by the depreciation of the cedi. The capital of the youth wouldn't have been swallowed by excessive taxes. The capital of the youth wouldn't have been dissipated due to their incompetence. So let it not be said anywhere that the youth of this country are lazy. I am a youth, and the youth are hustlers. They are working. They are working hard. But due to the corruption, due to the misadministration, due to the incompetence, due to the wickedness of this cabal of an NPP government, even when people are doing business, it's very difficult to make it in this country. The youth have just found ways and means to survive. And who told you that betting is a lazy approach to the youth? It is not. It is because this administration has failed to provide jobs. If someone is working and he wakes up every day, he has worked from 8 to 5 p.m., I don't think he will sit down and be calculating odds to be able to stake a bet to be able to win. It is as a result of the effect of the incompetence of this government to provide jobs. What did they promise us? They promised the youth that they were going to give them jobs. Today, the youth are jobless. They promised them hope. There is hopelessness. They promised them a better tomorrow, and that was going to be a better place. Today, it is so bitter that the youth are unable to speak. So we are here as a voice for the youth to speak for them against this incompetence, against this wickedness. So let them not ever say anywhere that the youth are lazy. It is they, the NPP and the NPP administration that is in government, that is wicked, that is incompetent, and that does not associate and understand the plight of the youth. If they were competent, they wouldn't be saying what they are saying.
Very well. So Osman, hold on for me. Let me speak to your colleague on the other line, who is the CEO of the National Youth Authority. They've been doing quite some work in trying to bring up the youth, trying to ensure that the youth acquire skills so they can fend for themselves. He of course, government is the one introducing the betting, the tax on game winnings, and indeed he's a member of government, so he obviously supports this position. He's Pius Enam Hajide. In fact, he was here yesterday and we had some conversation around this. Pius, welcome to the program. Now, the NDC is saying that it will mobilize its young forces to ensure that government, withdraws this tax, because this tax will affect young people who do not have jobs, because your government has failed to provide jobs for them, contrary to the promise you made to the young people when you were coming to office. Why do you want to tax the young people you have failed to provide jobs for?
Good evening to you, my brother Salom, and good evening to our cherished listeners. I'm pretty much scandalized listening to my colleague on the other side of the line. And the impression is created that if there were a problem with employment, the challenges confronted by the young people of this country, the NDC's view, their solution, their proposal is that the young people should resort to betting as a means of resolving whatever challenges that they imagine the young people are confronted with. I'm scandalized that, for real, somebody who purports to speak for the young people can take such a path. And let me place on record that it is not just the majority leader who has had issues with betting and what betting can do to the value systems of any country. Even the minority leader, Dr. Atuke Sofosun, I have a video I can share with you, just a moment ago, was amplifying the point. In fact, he had actually called that the state should take steps to ban betting of all forms.
Where did he say this?
Now, well, I can send the video to you.
No, but where did he say it? Yes, you send it. But where, just for the purposes of people who will
I
not...
have the video. It's a clip that I've seen. I'm sure it was a discussion program. I can send it to you. I won't lie on public radio about this. So I am struggling to see where he said it.
No, it's just for context. We just wanted to know. So just move on. You said it's a discussion somewhere, so that's fine.
So that I think that the leadership of the NDC youth wing should get a little more serious and get committed to discussing the challenges confronting the young people of this country. And I, as a young person myself, I do admit that just as it is with other developing countries, there are some challenges: youth unemployment, issues of education, issues of health, and some related matters. But any honest observer will admit that for the first time in a long time, the young people of this country are now getting some hope. And I can give you a few examples. In times past, many young people who were willing and prepared and qualified to proceed from JHS, the barrier to secondary education, which was the financial hindrance, prevented many young people from proceeding. Today, due to the free SHS, hundreds of thousands of young persons whose future would have been truncated at the basic level are now in secondary school. One of them actually is performing very well in the university in the UK, Brunel. It's a product of Akufo-Addo's free SHS. Today, there is a focus to refocus our education and focus it on the relevant sectors of national life and national development and prepare us for the future of work. Today, we are focusing on technical and vocational education. A new legislation has been passed that creates an agency of state responsible for technical and vocational education. Today, we are seeing STEM secondary schools, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. The young people of our country are being prepared for the future. And if you want to lead this country, these are the kind of policy proposals, the reforms that we should be discussing. Not that because there are hardships, the young people of our country should resort to betting, a game of chance, a game of luck, and that we are not going to encourage the Ghanaian young person who is hardworking, by the way, who is entrepreneurial, by the way. We are not going to create the environment so that the young Ghanaian can become the future Dangotes. The Dangotes of Nigeria, the Kwame Despies, they didn't get there through chance or by luck or by betting. They have gotten to where they have gotten through the dint of hard work. How do we create such an enabling environment? Is to remove the barriers that mitigate against the young people. For instance, access to financing and funding. And if you have a government that has the foresight and the vision to discuss the provision of the youth tax that ingests some 10 billion into the Ghanaian economy to create some 1 million jobs in the medium to long term, that is the kind of government that the young people of this country want to hear about.
Very well.
Not opportunists who are power.
No, that's fair. That's fair. But the point still remains that a lot of young people today do not have anything they are doing. I don't know whether they qualify for those programs you mentioned or not. But the fact remains that they don't have anything they are doing, and their only means of livelihood is to bet. Now you've taxed everything almost. Now moving to lottery and betting, and they are saying that it is not fair on the people because in the first place you have denied them a source of livelihood, and the little they have gathered for themselves, you are taking that away from them too. That is the point they are making.
But that is very unfortunate, and it is a palpable falsehood to argue that the state, the government of Ghana, has denied any young person anything. I have just given you example of opportunities that are being created. So it is not right. Nobody could even imagine that statement could be made by any honest observer, that opportunities are being denied the young people of this country. I'll give you an example. You know about the Israel National Board for Small Scale Industries, NBSSI. That was the legacy of the NDC. Compare that to the revamped, resourced, and repositioned Ghana Enterprises Agency. Check what is happening there now. The millions of dollars, the millions of cedis that are going out in loanable funds to young people to be able to do their businesses. And you see the joy and excitement when the young people of our country benefit from this intervention. The YES was what was the legacy of the NDC. Compare the output of the YES to the output of the NEIP, the National Entrepreneurial and Innovation Plan. Compare the two outputs and be an honest observer and tell us which of the two administrations can be said to have been denying the young people of our country any opportunities. I have said that there are challenges. Ghana is but a developing country. So there definitely are challenges. But I'm saying that to argue that the way out of those challenges is to now resort to games of chance. My brother, by the way, do we know about sin tax? Do we know why responsible government will increase taxation, for instance, on tobacco and on alcohol? Mr. Atufosun said in the video that I made reference to that governing a state is not just about money. It is also about building the character of the future of your country. We do not want to build a country of gamblers and people who have resorted to games of luck and chance. We are a serious-minded people, intentional by nature, and we are determined that we can rise up to the occasion and fight for ourselves and develop our country and create the Commonwealth. So if you have a party like the NDC that are power-hungry and they are only interested in inciting young people because they feel that because of COVID-19 and because of the geopolitical fracas elsewhere, times are hard across the globe, and Ghana has also been affected. So we will press emotive buttons, we will press the panic button, and we will instigate and incite people to get into behavior and becoming of a responsible and responsive opposition. It's up to them.
Very well. Very well.
There are 1,000,001 young people out there who are watching and who are listening carefully. And I can assure you that the vast majority of parents, the vast majority of the young people will prefer that there is a deliberate and calculated attempt to resolving the challenges confronted by the young people, and not this cheap and populist approach that there's sports betting, there is some gambling somewhere, we should remove the tax, that is the solution to the problem of the young people, and so on and so forth. I think the statement is misguided, it's unfortunate, and the NDC owes the young people of this country an apology.
Very well. So as far as you are concerned, the tax on betting is the right thing to do, and government will not withdraw that tax. And government
I said it to you yesterday.
Yes, the government is not going to withdraw the tax. I just wanted to get that from you so that we can move the discussion forward.
Yesterday, and I say it to you today. I'm saying that at the National Youth Authority, we have had a series of consultations with many stakeholders, and they believe that we should find ways to disincentivize betting. And one of the ways that people believe that we can disincentivize betting is through taxation. It's through public education.
Very well.
We are going to increase on our public education, and we are going to even suggest that the taxation even be looked at, and that the
taxes be increased. Very well. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. But I think that the balance should always come. Whilst you are seeking to disincentivize or discourage people from engaging in the betting, also make available the alternatives so that they can get jobs to do, and those alternatives should be readily accessible. Thank you so much.
If you give me the time, I will walk through.
No, we spoke through a list. We did a lot of that. We did a lot of that yesterday. But let's continue doing it. Thanks so much, Pius Enam Hajide, CEO of the National Youth Authority. Let me conclude with Osman Ayariga, who is Deputy National Youth Organizer of the NDC. His party is making a clarion call on the youth of the country to rise and fight this tax. But Osman, shouldn't we really be taking advantage of government policies like YouStart, etc., to better the lot of the young people than wanting to encourage, betting or gaming, which many have described as something that destroys the values of young people?
Thank you very much. I listened to my friend Pius Ahindide, and I thought he was going to tell us that, well, when he was at the Ministry of Sports, they created X number of jobs, and currently he's at the NYA, and they have created X number of jobs. But clearly the records are there to show at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and currently the records at the National Youth Authority is there to show. He has done nothing, and he himself is also a challenge. Clearly, he's a microcosm of the big problem. They have all done nothing. So they just come back, and all they are telling us is grammar, grammar, grammar. He has spoken a lot of English, and he has said a lot of nothing. Let me tell you, the best way to incentivize people from this betting is to provide jobs. Who doesn't want a well-secured paying job? Give us jobs and tax our jobs. We would not have a problem if government has provided jobs to the youth and government is taxing the youth. And that is a very simple matter. Government has introduced so many taxes and it is choking. And that is a fact. Are the youth unemployed? The youth are unemployed. And that is a fact. There has been e-levy. There has been COVID-19 levy. There is sanitation levy. There is taxation on sanitary pads. And now you want to tax the earnings of people's beds. That is cruel. And that is the message we are sending across. People are finding ways and means legitimately and lawfully to survive. And you are coming to start preaching something about morality and the fact that you want to incentivize it. What they need to do, provide the jobs. If you provide the jobs, the youth would work, and then you can tax the jobs. That is all what we are calling for. So we continue to call on the youth that we are with them and we are fighting till the end. This has nothing to do with populism. It has to do with people's hustle. It has to do with people's livelihoods. It has to do with people's suffering. Obviously, Pius is not part of the youth that are suffering. He is having a well-paying job, so he can sit in the comfort of his air-conditioned office and say the things he wants to say. He doesn't understand what it means to wake up in the morning with an empty stomach and go to sleep with an empty stomach. So he shouldn't sit there and say the things he is doing. We are telling you, as the youth of this country, that we are angry and we are hungry with this corrupt, wicked government, and we will demonstrate against it. We will fight them, and sure, we will meet them on the street. You should be prepared for us.
Very well.
Should be ready for us.
Very well. Thank you so much, Osman Ayariga, Deputy National Youth Organizer of the NDC. But before that, what's the roadmap? When are you starting the agitations and the protests?
Hopefully before the close of tomorrow, again, you will hear from us with so far as the dates and the timelines are concerned. We are still in the meeting process. Today it was just to inform the general public that they should gear up, they should put on their boots, they should put on their working gear, because we are going to be on the street to fight for our rights, to fight for a better tomorrow, to fight against this corrupt government, to fight against this wicked government, to fight against people who will tax us, and the tax will end up in people's bedrooms and people's pockets. That is what we just started. So it's a long walk.
Very well. Thank you so much. Osman Ayariga, Deputy National Youth Organizer of the NDC. Your text messages have been coming in droves, and we want to know whether you've begun being affected by the tax. A lot of messages, I mean, from the young people, I presume. Muhammad Kojo from Esum says, we will move, okay, it's a quote, we will move the country from taxation to production. Quoting Dr. Bauman, said the economy has now moved to taxation. On the successful bet code producers, if you want youth to stop betting, why did you allow betting companies to operate in Ghana? Why does government allow NLA to operate? Here you say, Aziz Donla Inwa says the decision by the youth wing of the NDC is in the right direction, right and perfect direction. Taxing capital is unacceptable and ridiculous. Government must review this policy. Courage in Koforia says if the government thinks betting is bad, then they should completely disband it and create a new jobs for the youth instead of claiming that a 10% is a way they are using to discourage the youth. Brilliant Farhad Ibn Okuja to Central Town Constitution says, it's so surprising that this NPP government wants to milk this unemployed youth who are struggling to make ends meet.